Greetings everyone, my name is Mark and today I'm going to walk you through some features of my Revit MEP semi-automatic calculation tool which uses Dynamo as a link between the two softwares. Please keep it in mind that this is not the final version of the tool but only the error calculation part. Let's get started, shall we? In order to understand the whole process, I'm going to explain the Excel sheet, the Revit model, and then the Dynamo graph. Let's start with Excel. In front of you, you can see an empty template with only the headers. This is our master sheet where we import data from Revit and where we make our calculations. The grayed out cells are future features waiting to be implemented. Now you can see cells with blue, green and orangish colors. These are telling us what kind of data it stores. Blue cells are information from Revit. Green cells are filled out by user here in the sheet, and orange contains Excel formulas executing our calculations. You can find cells with comments left on them. These comments are instructions which needed to be executed before the calculation will be correct. But don't worry, I'll show everything. Now to set up our Revit file to be able to work with this sheet, first we need to take a look in our datasheet 2. Here all different values are stored in which our Excel is referencing values. If you check the table names, design criteria for building spaces, we'll see that the number of usage types are already preloaded with different ventilation categories. We have to note down these names and categories and keep it in mind that they are all capital letters. With this done, let's hop into Revit. Now here in Revit we have a one-story building as our example. We have to prepare some parameters for ourselves here to make the magic work in Excel. In the project browser, let's go down to Schedules, Quantities, and open our room schedule. Now, here we see a few things going on. Under Name, we have our room names from the room tags in the plans as well as our room numbers. But after them, we have 3 new categories which are crucial for Excel to work. The room category and ventilation category must look familiar. If you look closely, it is the same format as in our Excel datasheet. These cells are the cells what we have to fill out in the same format as our Excel to work. Then we have an apartment group which is in our example A1 and A2. Now this is only for demonstration purpose as our building is one house. But imagine a building complex with a large number of apartments with many rooms in them. Now then, the last 3 columns I mentioned are custom project parameters which you have to set up yourself. At this point I was not able to use Dynamo to set these parameters up automatically, but in the future it is a possibility. Now that we set this up correctly, let's open Dynamo. I already have the Dynamo file preloaded, but when you open you should see something similar. Let's start by going through the inputs we are giving to our graph. We have to select our category to which we use to get our data from. In this case, that is called rooms. By under rooms, we get our array of parameters that we will need. Specifically, the name, the number, room category, and apartment group. If you check our Excel sheet, that is the first 4 columns we will get data from Revit. Then we have 2 more parameters, the area and the ventilation category. Under that we have a string nodes which are providing our formulas pre-made for this particular Excel spreadsheet. I'm not going to go into the inner works for the formulas, but they will perform our calculation and retrieve numbers from data from our data sheet as well. In the top you can find our file path node where we select our calculation file. Above that there is a Boolean switch which right now doesn't serve a purpose. You can still use it to stop the graph from writing to Excel sheet instead of freezing multiple nodes, but this will be important in the future feature. So now that we know the graph, Let's run it and see what it does. So we're back in Excel and you can see that our fields are being populated. We have all our rooms, numbers and categories filled, but you can see errors. This is at the moment an issue, which I'm not sure if it is something on my behalf or if I just want too much from the programs. Let me explain. If I hover over the first cell where we have a comment, you see I left an instruction here. We have to remove any at characters from our formula. Why is there, you ask? It should not be there. It is not in our string, so between Dynamo and Excel that character gets placed there. Why? Don't know. But is it placed in front of the references to our data sheet? But fear not, let's just delete those pesky characters. Now let's do it for the other cells. Now you see that our first line is already giving us no error, but the rest is still not working. The problem here is that when we move our formula from Dynamo, every cell was written with the same formula. They did not adapt like when you write a formula inside Excel, but there is an easy solution for this. When you click on one of the cells, you can see that the small plus icon is on the lower right corner. Double click it, and that will copy our formula downwards while adapting the cells for the new lines. So far so good, but if you have a keen eye, you see that something is still off. Why are all those numbers 0? If we click on it, we see that it references a cell which is empty. The cell is green, meaning it is waiting for us to do a bit more legwork, or in this instance finger work, to populate them. So quickly let's fill them in. Now I wrote random numbers here, but you will need to fill it in with the expected or with the maximum allowed by regulations amount of people. And that's it for our first installment of this work in progress project. Thank you everyone on the Dynamo forums with the amazing ideas to solve the problems. And thank you dear viewer for tuning in and checking out this work in progress tool.